invest some memory and do that
That's
without a picture or something. It's pretty amazing.
Mike, are you on the committee now?
Always was.
maybe,
Oh, you were?
yeah,
So
so maybe
show up.
after
It's
tonight.
Oh,
So
That's right.
Mike, we
Sorry.
collapsed down to seven.
I didn't resign.
Seven is what it was. But we have 2 empty seats, so if you want one, that's an act we could take tonight.
but did you say you did resign or you didn't?
It's up.
Did you say you did resign or you didn't?
No, man.
No, he was original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we don't need to recreate it all, but, the short of it is that, there's empty seats we need to fill.
What about Joe?
That's my points for. I think Joe acknowledged that Joe was here for meetings. I think he acknowledged he was happy to go up. But then he's continued to come for meetings, so, again, if he wants to, there's empty seats. So what else? What do we need to do here? We're, it's early. We're recording already. I'm actually looking to figure out, yeah, I'm gonna pause. Right. It's the, January 9 meeting of the Wolcott Community Forest Committee, calls to order at 6:02. So we've got a simple agenda tonight. First action on it is reviewing the agenda, any amendments to the agenda. Anything that anybody wants to talk about that's not here on the agenda?
Yeah, I was just gonna, do I have to do this formally? Can I just speak? I don't know.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the coverage group that the Woodlands for Wildlife coverage group that I am part of, Roger's part of it. Also, and anyways, they want to do a talk with Emily, maybe, well, about a few things, but about the town forest, and they kind of do this regularly, get together, and so they're hoping to do a Memorial County one. And they reached out to us in the area, and I mentioned this space could work for that with Emily, and Emily's been involved with our forest, wrote the plan. So anyways, I guess it's not really necessarily a part of the town. Well, because she's probably gonna be talking about the town forest, I guess it does sort of involve us. So I just was gonna put that out there, and like we'd be invited, community members as well to listen in, and so anyways, that's gonna be possibly this January. We haven't nailed down any dates yet. Sometime this winter here, it's revolving around the town forest. So
Fantastic. Anything that Vermont Coverts or you personally need from us, the committee, in support, or?
not that I'm aware of at this point. Mostly just the space, which is more of the town's thing. I've already cleared it with Belinda, and we're free to join and listen. So at this point, it's just kind of showing up. Would be great. Just, it'd be, I don't know. I think they're kind of doing it like a potluck thing. It's kind of how they usually do it. So, maybe some things along those lines. But yeah, nothing, I don't think at this point is really needed besides just kind of coming and being there if desired.
So you've got the plan is pretty well in place in the agenda?
It seems like it's definitely gonna happen, just not sure when yet. Emily's been in contact, or has been contacted, and she's on board, and so yeah, it's gonna happen, just need to nail down the dates or date.
Okay, cool. So I've been to one, but I didn't stay for the whole thing, I don't think. I remember, somebody from Vermont Culverts made a bit of a presentation and then turned it over to a forester. And we did a walk. This was at Joe and his parents' property. And, but I didn't stay for the end, so I don't know how it came together at the end.
Okay. Yeah, it could be similar. It could be a walk involved. I guess, yeah, that could be part of it too. Kind of similar. Yeah. They just focused being wildlife in relation to how you manage a forest. And, so that's kind of their thing. And, yeah, the rest is sort of, I guess, kind of up to Emily, what she wants to do along those lines.
And will people gather in here or use this space?
Yeah, considering it's winter, I think they want sort of like they wanted a space, an indoor space as part of it. Just probably, I don't know, that's just what they want to do. Partly the potluck thing. And maybe just for speaking, being easier in winter inside. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be outside and inside or just inside. Yeah.
Hey, Gabe,
Yeah.
have you already made arrangements with Belinda to open up the building and maybe have access to the computer if you need to project anything?
Yeah, as far as the space itself, that's cleared. I haven't really breached using the technology here for a new presentation. I don't know.
I can help.
Yeah.
I can help you with that if Gordon. It's hard to say without the date, but if Gordon can't make it, I can help you with that.
Okay, that's great. I can pass that along to Emily. I think that would kind of be in her purview.
Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. So, don't really. That's the agenda. Anything else we want to talk about that's specifically to add here? I guess I have a few. We'll probably hold space for an open-ended discussion. I have a few things that are bubbling up that, rather than try and list them down, I just want to have some open-ended discussion. And the outcome of that open-ended discussion, I anticipate will be putting some items specifically on next month's agenda, so that we can warn them and have votes and, make specific votes if it seems like we come up with actions that we want to take. So that's just in my mind. Okay. If there's nothing else, then the next item is approving the minutes from the last meeting. Roger, you sent these out. Did you send these out a few days after our last meeting? I'm trying to remember if I've looked at them or not. I have not.
I believe I did. It was a while ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's not top of mind. Let me check my inbox and see.
I'm just going to double check everything that I have from Roger. And from like 11 meeting notes for review from 11/20. Yes. So I have reviewed them. I remember reviewing them and thinking that's pretty good. No issue. But I just wanted to confirm for myself that was actually our last meeting.
Yes, yeah, we didn't meet in December.
Right. So everybody else had a chance to look? Any comments, updates? Okay. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from our November meeting.
Second.
So moved, seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Dave, I assume you're here with us with Dolly's iPad. Just want to make sure we can hear you. In case you're saying something and I don't want to pass you over. So can you find the mute button and let us know that you're with us? Dave, are you there? Okay. Or if you can find the reactions on the Zoom and, you know, hit a raise your hand or something, that would work. Otherwise we'll count you as abstaining for any vote. Okay, well, that said, all those in favor of the motion on the floor approving the minutes from the November meeting, signify by saying aye, raising your hand, whatever you like.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, the ayes have it. Unanimous. And our next item will be status report from TPL, trail building update from Sinuosity. I have actually not talked, a brief exchange with Kate, but about a whole different topic. Nothing, and I don't think we've got anything pending with TPL at this point. They'll be managing the Sinuosity, but I don't think there's anything pending.
Did we hear anything more about the soil around the telephone pole? Wasn't there they did the first dig away, but then they went back and tested it and
Yeah,
found a little bit more?
and that's with Stone Environmental.
Yeah. They might have to wait till spring to deal with that, maybe.
Yeah, but at this point they might. That's a good call, though. I'm going to send myself an email right now to follow up with Kate and Stone and just make sure we get something, find out what the status on that is. So compose to subject WCF soil remediation. I have a contact with Stone for the people who've been working on it. So I will chase that down. I have not heard anything from Sinuosity. Well, it's been 2 months, but so I think they are largely complete with the trail from the school down to the road, down to the intersection of Flatiron Road and East Elmore Road, it's not obvious exactly where the trail comes out, so I think they might have a little bridge or a little stream crossing to build, but I know that they have been working on it. Have not had any communication with either Brooke or Mariah, probably since, if anything, it was in early November, but I haven't had anything with them since that time.
What do they resume in May or something?
Yeah, presumably, as soon as it's dry enough to do something.
Yeah.
They probably can do trail clearing and stuff. Again, let's find out, ask them to report back to us roughly what their plans are.
They haven't done any more since our last meeting, right?
I have, let's see, since our last meeting, have I been up there since our meeting or was it before? Last time I was on site, like I said, I heard that they were largely complete with that trail coming down. There was a fair amount of work that was underway on the trails above the school. Some of them, were rideable on a bike, and others are marked and cleared, and so the layout of the trails is more obvious. There was some work, and I think we talked about this even at the meeting. There was a neighbor who had taken it on himself to help out with clearing some of the trails or things that had been marked. I know, and I think we talked about this at the last meeting. So no need to cover it any further. Hello, I need to type. I'm sorry, maybe somebody else can give you that. For spring startup. I know about Sinuosity. Recruiting committee members. Next item on our list, we have two vacancies. The select board has final authority in terms of approving, appointing people into the seats. They are open to us making recommendations. Mike, I understand it's news to you that the committee configuration has changed. But it has,
It dropped.
yeah. So the plan, the management plan that we approved, most of a year ago, it stated in the plan that at the time of the purchase of the forest, the committee configuration would change and would reduce to 12 members, reduced to 7 members. So we, people who were consistently showing up to meetings, we went around the room and asked who wanted to stay and who didn't. And conveniently, there was about 7 of us that were, present at the meetings and wanted to stay. Subsequently, Kelly and Gilly were 2 of them, and they changed their minds. And so we currently have 2 empty seats. So we've been kind of coasting along with that because we have. On the other hand, I know that Maxfield is with us tonight and has and if I'm not mistaken, Maxfield, you've been more interested in trail building and stuff. You're not one of the official people on the committee, but as you keep coming and attending the meetings, I wonder about your level of interest.
Yeah, that was my initial hope, was to be more focused on trails. All of it I find interesting. I just feel drawn to the trail aspect of it more than anything else.
Okay. So, Mike, I take it that you're still interested and are you interested in occupying one of the empty seats?
Yeah, I've been here, I haven't resigned, so I haven't been too active in it.
Yeah, well, and that's, honestly, how much activity does it take? There's lots and lots that we could do, and yet I find myself pressed for time in between meetings to get stuff done. So, at the very least, I think the interest to be here and consistent attendance at the meetings and a willingness to pick up other things outside of the meetings. I know you're also busy with the depot.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that. I don't know if anybody knows about it. Is up to date on that?
We can cover that. Let's come back to that later on, but at least we can find out. So are you guys interested in but maybe I'll ask you individually. So Mike, are you interested in the seat? And Maxfield, are you interested in taking the seat?
Yeah, I think I can try to help out.
Okay. Does anybody else have other candidates in mind or people that concerns with this process?
I'm unaware of anyone, but I haven't I've been searching, so sorry.
I think
How many we got now?
we have 5.
Oh,
Yes.
that's basically it.
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
So, the 5 members that we have are Kate, Gabe, myself, Roger, and Dave Holton, who are with us online. So, then we'll need to have the select board approve you before you guys are official and voted members. But if you're interested, especially given your history and the fact that you're showing up on a snowy January night, it's strong evidences to qualifications.
I'm tough. This is nothing compared to what I've seen in the past.
Okay.
And I guess it, I mean, it's not necessarily a binding term limit, right? I mean, so it seems like can kind of not necessarily, well, yeah, technically you can just kind of leave when you want, right? I mean, so.
I mean, nobody can stop you if you want to resign.
Yeah,
So that's certainly the case.
Wouldn't they be pre-approved since they already were approved by the select board in the beginning?
I mean, I could say we're pre-approved. I think we should get the official stamp of approval. We may, and I mean, the fact is, if anybody else in the community wants to join, I think the requirements to be on the committee would be a resident of Wolcott who's interested enough to put their energy into it and show up for meetings. And the select board has the power to adjust our configuration and approve members. So honestly, I think if anybody wants to, they are welcome. We may not have a very formal process, but it's not exclusionary. That's the way I see it. That's if anybody disagrees or wants to qualify it or has concerns about it, the floor is open. And hearing none, I take it as that's the position of the committee. Okay, so I'll make the motion that we recommend to the select board that our 2 vacancies are filled by Mike Green and Maxfield English.
A second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Yes. Carried.
and so the next meeting would be soon?
Next regular meeting will be second Thursday.
I mean,
Select board
select
meeting.
board.
Yeah, they meet on first and third Wednesday, I believe. So next Wednesday should be their next meeting.
So that would be the official, when they say yes, thumbs up, aye, or whatever, then they're,
Yeah,
that's official.
yeah. Right. Okay, another action item to me.
still have a select board member on board.
No, we don't.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought that was the original requirement of it.
no, I think that, I mean, they may have,
just changed it.
yeah, they may have felt that. I think it was simply that Kurt, in the very beginning, Kurt wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
So, new business. First item is response to snowmobiling on forest land. Roger, I think this is with respect to the email thread that was started by Ryan Bjorky.
Yes, but wait.
Okay. Yeah, so in this case, Jack had the question, and we had a brief email exchange. Just for clarity, the issue is not snowmobiling per se, but somebody was driving a 4-wheeler on what had been the old logging road. Ryan noticed it because he had been skiing and snowshoeing up there, and and before the thaw. So he sent an email to me and Linda Martin, just calling it to our attention. I guess everybody, committee members we've all been on the thread, where we the direction we were moving. So Linda asked, do I want to handle it in this committee or should it become a select board issue? I advised her that I thought it was better that we should handle it here and, involve the select board if needed, but this is something we can take care of. And she was fine with that. So further discussion, as per email, we agreed that we would seek out some no motor vehicle signage that we can post in the relevant spots, at least as a temporary measure that, we immediately move in that direction.
What's the basic trail? Is the one through the board property?
There's nothing through the Bourne property in terms of a basic trail, and so the area of concern, well, there's the Vast Trail.
Well, Vast Trail, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so the Vast Trail is a separate issue.
This is something else he was.
This is something else. Yeah, this is, so Ryan Bierke lives over on Flatiron Road himself. And however, it was, the skiing and snowshoeing up on the Bedell parcel relatively close to the school. And that's where he was noticing it. The point of entry is where the parking lots and the wastewater pump station will be right on East Elmore Road. So there's been a rope with ribbons across the entryway, and Ryan, I've had further correspondence with Ryan. He put the rope back up and has been back to had been keeping an eye on it. This was early this week, and has not seen any further signs of activity. So that's that. He was thinking it was probably a neighbor of his on Flatiron Road, and I inquired if he knew who it was and if he thought that maybe just a friendly conversation with a forest committee member might help be part of the solution. I didn't get any response from Ryan, so I'm not sure who.
Maybe so just the one Snowgate Street, they won't.
Yeah.
They won't be up.
In either case, it's, obviously it's a violation of the conservation easement and something we need to be attentive to. Don't want anybody to get in the habit of it. So I'm of the view that some simple signage is an appropriate next step. And that this committee that we should figure out a way to get some signs posted. And so that's I think that's what we need to be.
Yeah, snowmobiles have those signs in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's no snowmobiling signs. I know.
No, they have those signs, private property. Or you can get them, yeah.
Do you know of a source for pre-made signs that you can just somebody stamp
There
them?
are a number of them online.
Yeah.
I had problems with ATVs on my own property at one time and was able to get very professionally done signs right off the internet.
Mhm.
Not that expensive. And yeah, put them up and that took care of the problem. But yeah,
Okay.
there are multiple sources, I think. They're very high quality, like the highway sign.
Metal.
Metal, where they make, you can get them with reflective, paint, there's all kinds of options that you might want to go.
Roger's hand is raised.
Oh yeah.
Bradley could probably source that for us if we want to. He had brought up interest in designing signs. So he has some connections in that respect. But the other question I had was, do you feel that we should do kind of like a friendly post on Front Porch? Not necessarily everybody reads Front Porch, but just a reminder that, even if you've been kind of driving on that land in the past, since the ownership has changed and there's new rules, that you're not allowed to do that, just kind of like a soft education post or something along those lines. Or do we want to just do the signs? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'll speak for myself, and floor is open for other people as well. My immediate reaction is the less we talk about it, the less likely it is to be an issue.
It's a double-edged
Understood.
sword, isn't it?
Yeah,
I guess since it's hasn't been like a regular occurrence, it seems to be just like a one-off. Up to this point, it probably isn't really justify it. All right, cool. Just checking.
You know, it could be just a one-time event. Somebody curious had their ATV out and decided to go take a look.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm glad you're interested in it because when I saw the notice on the agenda, I thought, oh my gosh, what do we have going on here? But no, I think the most pleasant approach is the best initial approach. You know, if somebody knows who it is and could just say, hey, because sometimes even signs kind of draw attention to it. You know, if it happens a second time, then maybe you want to do the signs and a front porch forum post, you know, kind of thing. It's up, you know, you can go either way.
I mean, I think it would, I think it might be a good idea proactively. Here's my thought, I'll throw it out there. If we purchase a couple of signs and, you know, face palm and didn't already go on the internet and look at, I thought maybe they'd have them in Obashan, so at least we got that far. But maybe we get a sign, you know, one sign for the entry spot over here, and it'd probably be worthwhile having another one up by the bridge, or maybe just on the other side of the bridge, up on East Elmore. You know, at least proactively, because it's possible for somebody to be out there innocently looking around and, you know, driving their ATV around. So if we put a sign up, it's, you know, that closes that way.
Could we have something saying Wolcott Community Forest on it as well?
Mhm. And so that comes back to having custom signs made at Spark. The Spark's a good place to do it. That sounds good to me. Again, I clearly haven't done a lot of research on the best places for signs. There is, however, a thing about this that our official signage is subject to terms from U.S. Forest Service condition. You know, the funding source. They gave us a grant conditional on our willingness to put certain verbiage on the signs. And I think it's you know, it's pretty minimal, but I think it's something about, number one, it has to be, you know, equal opportunity or something. We have to say something about that, and we have to say that it was funded by the U.S. Forest Service. So that stuff I can find that in email correspondence, but that would be something we have to incorporate it. You know, for an emergency, a short-term fix to just put some signs out there. That not something that should hold us up. But if we're thinking about any kind of long-term signs and design work on the signs, we need to make sure to get that in.
We can't wait until we have another incident, just let it go. And see if it happens again, then we get into it more. Probably just a one-shot deal, some kid riding around, you know, kids.
Used to be one
But
yourself, right?
this town of Johnson allows four-wheelers on all their dirt roads.
Yeah.
Wolcott's no one's ever approached Wolcott about it. You get these nice side-by-sides, they're not like
Yeah.
no, they're real luxury with them. Get all the lights
Heating
and
and air
stuff.
conditioning, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. You'd think with all that, you'd think they could have mufflers too, you know?
they do,
I mean, it sure doesn't sound like it from where I live.
really? Oh,
They're not trying to be quiet anyway.
yeah.
All right.
So
So what's have we reached a conclusion on the signs? A little.
Wait
I
till
don't
we
know,
have a
we're
problem.
waiting.
Suggest we wait till we have a problem.
I mean, we've had one incident.
Or
Do we
have more
want-
and you don't know about it.
To possibly, do we want to wait till more? I mean.
Because we're gonna have signs along with the trails when they're complete, right? Then
Yeah.
there'll be, that's kind of in the mix already.
Not the rail trail has some signs. I'll have to check on that. I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, long term, we need to be thinking about having some, about what signage we want to put on kiosks.
Yeah.
And it would be good to have, it would be, I think, related to that, it would be good to have copies of the signs, like, as we have trail maps and stuff like that. It'd be nice to have a permanent display, here in the town office or, maybe out at the parking lot or something like that. So starting to think about what it should be and a place where, we highlight some of the do's and don'ts, if you will, or guidelines. And, making sure, starting to think about what the signage parameters, the things that we need to include. I think we should be making a plan, we should start the design work for that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and then I guess I like this idea that we're not gonna just go put signs up everywhere for every little thing in all our bylaws or whatever. So yeah, I like this idea of just waiting, pausing on the no motorized vehicle signs until it maybe becomes another issue, because yeah, we're gonna have our other signs that are gonna be in the mix anyways, and then we're not just everywhere you look at signs, I guess. So yeah, I think this is a good idea.
And Sinuosity is just doing trail markers. They're not really doing anything else with signage. Is that right?
I think they had, they're supposed to build kiosks. I think that's part of their contract. And they may be working with Max and the students at Hazen about that. We had some discussion about that. Max, I see you coming online. Something you wanted to say?
Just in terms of the kiosks, the Hardwick trails, I've been doing this for a while. It might be a good idea just to kind of somebody take a snapshot of what they have on display on their kiosks for information, what's, good for visitors to see.
Yeah. I can kind of picture them in my head, but honestly, I haven't stopped and looked at it closely to see everything that's there. There's rules, there's the pick up after your dog, the poop fairy doesn't exist, and a few other things like that.
The maps.
A map of the trails. Yeah.
They have like tick information, I think, on some of them. I'll take some pictures tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, if you get digital pictures and can forward them to the group, that'd be a great thing.
Yeah, I have a couple of pictures I've taken. I think I have one from before it got washed out. I got one from the Northern Cascades Trail, and I got one from the North Branch Nature Center. I think I have a shot of their sign too. So I'll send that to you.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's collect ideas about signage and kiosks over the next month, and let's make that a significant. Let's allocate some time for discussion and planning for this in our meeting next month.
We'll talk about that when you have time for me at the end of your meeting here. I want to talk about that. That's included.
The signage and kiosks. Okay, I mean, I'm not trying to shut down the conversation right now. I'm just saying that
I can expand on that a little bit for you.
okay.
I just have one more semi-related, peripherally related question. And I may have missed this in a previous discussion. Website, are we considering?
Yeah, we are working on stuff for the website. Bradley Horseman if I've got his name right, is under contract with the town to do all of the web development for the town. And I did get a communication from Michelle, the select board, that they're not approving a separate budget, expense item in our budget for website development because Bradley's under contract to do it for the town. I know, Roger, you and Bradley were having some discussions about it, last fall.
I was trying to connect with him before Christmas to get together, but he was out of town. And then when he came back, I was in the holiday cycle. So I'll reboot that conversation this week. I think the last discussion we had on it, I think, was we wanted to just put a page that was focused on volunteer recruitment for the spring. Was kind of and then to kind of build that out and build a network with other maybe local groups or biking groups or trail building groups to bring some of that energy in to just kind of jumpstart the process and be ready to go when the conditions change. Beyond that, we kind of discussed that we weren't quite ready to go live with the website until we actually wanted people to be in the park when we actually had trails built. There's kind of a variety of opinions on that, but I think we did come to a consensus the last time we talked about it, about focusing it at least initially on building the volunteer base. Willing to add any ideas to that discussion, of course. We have a whole list of ideas that came out in the springtime, things about adding like calendar of events and different mapping and educational events, and there's a whole list that I have that Bradley has too. He has a template built based on those initial requests. I think the idea is just populating it. I'll be honest with you, I've had a little bit of writer's block because I haven't really done this before, so I've written a bunch of things down and I'm just like, this sounds stupid. So if there's a good writer in the group or someone who has a good idea of what we could cut and paste, I'd be open to that as well. So just being honest with you, I'm not trying to delay the process or anything. I just haven't really been happy with the text that I personally generated, to be honest.
Totally relatable.
And also images, like we really need pictures. So if people are going out into the park, please take pictures and send them along, because that's something that we don't really have a lot of to use at this point.
Yeah. Well, this is something, it's not on the agenda tonight, but it's a good topic for conversation. And what's forming in my mind is we set aside time the next meeting to really have a focused discussion on signage. Let's expand that discussion to include websites and communication in general. Ideally, Bradley could join us for the meeting and the discussion. We can make it. Can we make it a working session within the regular meeting? I don't really want to add another meeting to our schedule, so that would be my default approach would be to make that meeting into a working session around this stuff. Open to other ideas, of course.
I like that idea, Gordon. Do we have a logo yet?
We have at least two. Maria conducted a contest and also engaged a graphic designer. And so we have the contest winner, who's a student in the elementary school, and then we also have something created by a graphic designer. I find that actually a little bit awkward. I think maybe we can get copies of them. I can find the digital versions of both those graphics and share them with the group.
They're both in the share folder.
Okay.
I think I remember seeing that now that you say it.
Yeah. And that's something that let's make that a warned agenda item for next meeting. to discuss our two logos and decide on usage guidelines for the two logos. We'll either keep one or keep both and just have some sort of guidance for when we use one or the other. Roger, I'm counting on you to add that to your notes and make sure it gets into next month's agenda.
Yeah, I have a list in bold type of action items. So yeah, well, and I think what I'll do is I'll come out a little bit early with some of these. Maybe just put like some idea sheets where people can just kind of throw them up, especially in terms of I'll put down, I'll repost what we came up with before for the website as kind of ideas, and also pull the logos up. If I feel like we need to honor the contest winner in some respect. And I was thinking maybe we can use that on kid-facing activities or merch or something like that to kind of celebrate the community participation aspect of it. Which I think we need to come full circle on that, or we just kind of feels weird, especially since it's a child. But the other logo, if we feel like it's more like formal or professional facing, and there's probably areas where we can use both, and still satisfy the requirements.
Yeah. Well, between now and next meeting, let's everybody take a look at it, and we can expand on the discussion and decide on guidelines next meeting.
Yeah, it'd be good too to maybe lock a few of these things down before town meeting. That's always an opportunity, especially if we're going to be recruiting volunteers. That might be a good place to kind of do some outreach.
Do that. And since it's coming up in my mind that, we may want to try and squeeze in another meeting between now and town meeting. I'll just throw that out there, and let's talk about that at the end of this meeting. But the thoughts coming up in my mind. So we're still on the topic of response to motor vehicles or, on the forest lands. General consensus is do nothing, but I would like to, I don't want to be caught flat-footed again if something does happen. So what do you guys think about, at least let's buy a couple of signs and post them, one on each of the two obvious entry points. And they don't have to be visible from the road necessarily, just something, so that if you're walking past them, you actually see them, or driving past them. And at least we can do that much.
I think it's a good
Okay,
idea.
got a couple signs.
Yeah, I do think that we do have to go through the process of actually requesting the purchase from the select board. I know it's kind of it's annoying, but I do think I think it's expected.
Yep.
But I don't think they'll say no.
I'm sure they won't, but I agree with you, and I think it's good practice for us.
So I think it's just sourcing out some signs and getting a reasonable price, is probably the only kind of the next step. And then I think they have like a 1 week submission deadline to get on the agenda, but maybe something simple like that, a couple of days is fine.
So how that works, I guess it's on the agenda. You submit, you would do a research, price out the signs prior to the next town meeting or select board meeting, and then you bring that quote to them.
I think I'm sorry, Gabe, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, jumping kind of to the next item. The formal process, as Belinda explained it to me, not to overthink it or anything, but she said that she wanted the request to come through either me or Gordon so that she had like, it kind of like has that stamp of approval that it had been discussed in the committee, so that she's not getting it from 7 different people. And then once she gets it in an email in writing, then it would be put on the agenda for discussion or released consideration by the select board. They would, either discuss it or rubber stamp it, depending on the item. And then at that point, a cut or a check would be prepared, and then we pick it up at Belinda's office within the next couple of days. She said she preferred to know exactly the exact amount and who we're planning on, submitting the cash to, rather than just be like, I need $200 for signs. Like, I don't think they'd like to do that with their bookkeeping. And they like to make the checks out to the actual service provider. And I think that's pretty much it. When we get a receipt, to just send her a copy so that they have it for the books, and then we retain a copy, or you send it to me, and I'll put it in when we compile our town report every year. We can have a record of all our spending, which, when we're asking for a budget, we use that for our projection, etc. It's not super complicated. It's pretty intuitive, but it does have a couple steps to it that we have to follow, and they have their timetable. So yeah, I think finding the sign, or where we want to buy the signs from, it seems like a primary mission for us right now. Is who do we want to buy our signs from? Having at least like an initial, kind of design like of the sign with like maybe a standardized footer or margin or something like that signifies that it's town forest sign. But I think we should try to make it unique if we can. It just depends on how quickly we want to get it produced. That way it's clear to everybody in town after a couple months, like, oh, if they see one of these signs, it's related to the town forest. That would be my 2 cents on that. But other than that, like, if we just want to put simple signs up quickly, or just have them in our pack, or to just use as needed, I'm fine with that idea of expediting it. It's just a matter of finding that service provider and going through that process, which probably takes about 2 weeks overall, like if I had to guesstimate.
Picture I have in my head right now is we find the website that Jack was talking about, or a similar one. Find the price, get some simple signs that are not custom, just, no motor vehicles.
Yeah.
I think that's, anybody disagree, speak up if you disagree, but I think it's just no motor vehicles. Or whatever they have the standards like that. Buy 2 of them, buy some plywood to, or if somebody's got some plywood lying around and they want to contribute, we'll need plywood backings for the signs, and unless they're, substantial metal signs, but the ones that, see in the hardware store need plywood backing. And then, a wooden stake, a hardwood stake to attach it to and drive it in. That's one option, or, screws to attach it to a tree. I guess I'm probably more in favor of a hardwood stake rather than, mounting it on a tree.
Might be tough to put it in the ground at this point.
Yeah, we'll probably miss our opportunity for that.
It's on the edge.
Yeah, so go around on that one.
Although it's, if there's snow, the ground's probably not frozen.
Don't make them too nice so they get stolen.
Yeah.
Or shot up.
You know the best cure for that? Plastic grease on the backside of them.
Huh.
I used to work for the state. Used to use a lot of signs. Too nice.
Huh.
Somebody so it's price of signs, and figure it out. Anybody want to volunteer to do that?
We all just see what we can find.
Yeah, we had some signs at tracks that were metal that pretty substantial with, holes in them for screws. I think they were like $30 a piece. So I'll look into that.
Okay.
Not sure where they came from, but I'll do some
If I can
research.
find that website, I'll send it to you. I think I still get emails from them
Oh,
occasionally.
perfect.
Once you
Yeah.
know, once you.
Yeah,
buy something.
you find your email address linked to
Yeah.
their marketing forever. Okay, so Kate, you'll take it on, you'll figure out how much we need to spend and put together get those numbers to Roger.
Okay.
And as expeditiously as we can do it, we could probably, we can probably sweet talk Linda and Belinda into getting us onto a select board agenda on short notice if we need to. So.
The size is. I don't know.
No, I like this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just looking on Amazon right now, they've got cheap ones that basically from $5.50 up to about $35, depending on how much we want to invest in it. And like Mike said, maybe if we get the super nice ones, they might not last very long.
I'm happy to delegate this to whoever wants to make the choice.
Oh, we can all submit whatever we come up with. but-
Maybe we'll figure out something. I got a couple of sources too.
Okay, so Kate and Roger are the two people that I'm thinking are taking the actions. And so if you want to be the volunteer and pick out the sign instead of Kate, you guys can arm wrestle and see who gets it.
Everybody go to a source and see what they can find.
I mean, if it's not, let's not have everybody doing it. Let's have one person, to just for simplicity's sake. Or two people, I mean, if you have an opinion, go for it. I want it to get done simply.
We'll get some results.
Yeah.
I would ask that if if we're gonna get one person or multiple people, I say let's just say like by Sunday, maybe get something to us by Sunday, and that way we can get it into the select board queue next week. Try to get that spending approved. How does is that too much time or not enough time? I don't know. I don't feel like it will take a lot of time.
Roger, you're the requests are funneling through you. You're in charge of setting the deadline that works for you.
Yeah, I think Sunday night. If you've got, otherwise I'm just going to go with the Amazon. I'd rather source it local if someone's got, a good local company, but if we just got to get it done, I'll probably just go through Amazon because it's quick and easy. But
Sounds like it's maximum of $60 or something. Maybe it's only 20, I don't know.
I can figure that out before Sunday, I think.
awesome. Yeah, and I think just having it in Belinda's inbox Monday morning, we'll set it in motion, and I think a reasonable timetable.
That's good.
And I'll send Linda and Belinda a heads up that we're gonna ask for a little slot on the select board agenda next week. Okay, so we've covered response to motors and process for spending requests. And the next thing is volunteer recruitment drive / trail builders. What do we want to talk about here, and how do we want to tee this up? We could go in a few different directions. I have some ideas, but Roger, if you have something in mind.
Yeah, I kept it on the agenda because last meeting we said that we wanted to kind of revisit it so that we could have our architecture in place before the spring. So I just kind of kept it on the agenda as a running item. I know that we've already said that we're going to talk about website next meeting, and if you look at the meeting notes that we already approved, there's a whole bunch of different ideas related to that we had discussed last time about having a sign up, maybe a QR code, and some other simple things. I can look that up and go over it if you want, or if everybody remembers it or wants to just move on, that's fine too.
Yeah. Well, so if we're taking official decisions, if there's places where we're making decisions and particularly spending money, we should officially warn it in the agenda. And that's why I'm suggesting that, let's plan for a discussion next week, next meeting, next month, basically. And which is not. So not to shut down discussion tonight, I mean, if we have, we have an hour left in our scheduled time slot. You know, and we could use some of that time if we want to go into, things that we might want to put onto the website. Right? And I think, so that's the, recruitment drive and trail builders as it relates to the website. Otherwise, kind of adjacent to this, we've had some discussion around trails and especially trails on the Bourne parcel. And that's something that I would like to spend a few more minutes talking about tonight. Again, you know, no decisions, not appropriate for us to take votes and make decisions since it's not warrant. But again, to talk that through and see what decisions, how we can be ready to make a decision if there's need to do so in our next meeting. And I think that's related. It's trails and volunteers. So I think it fits under this topic. So Roger, you've told us what you were thinking about. I've said what I'm thinking about.
Yep.
Anything else somebody wants, you know, other general topics? I'm
Curious in that. The board, is this, how much do you have to run that by the select board for new potential trails? Is that totally part of the going forward? We talk about it, but then we have to, for actual any action is taken, we have to talk to them and they have to approve it. Is that
basically, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, we're feeling our way through this, so whatever I say is guesswork, but also, you know, it's like the first stroke on a piece of paper. It's easier to say it the first time than to change it. That's where I see that we are. That said, you know, any construction has to be approved by the easement holders, which should go through the select, you know, the select board should tell the easement holders we're proposing this, and then the easement holders can approve. And so therefore, we should take something, easement, conservation easement. VHCB and Northern Rivers Land Trust.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the conservation easement. And for which we're super fortunate to have Jack come into all of our meetings, and also Kate is on Northern Rivers to help facilitate the process and, you know, make it easy for us to have those conversations.
Is there like some kind of a plan already of what you want to, you know, what we want to do over there? Have it in your mind's eye.
I have some ideas.
Yeah.
I definitely have some ideas. So
I want to integrate what I'm going to talk about with what you're talking about right now, and I can do it all at once. I'm on the Wolcott Rail Trail Committee for the town of Wolcott, and I'm also spearheading the old foundation for the railroad station. We're gonna clear that off. We're gonna cut all the brush out of there and do something, fill that foundation full of gravel and put a kiosk there for the rail trail, and all those trees will be removed. We've got a grant in to the rail trail people, and it was supposed to be in by the 20th, and we're waiting on approval right now. First thing we had to do is to get a lease from the rail trail, because they own the land in back of the station, right down to not quite to the existing kiosk. It's quite, it's a quarter of an acre. Yeah,
okay.
it's not just a long trail, but we have to redo that. We've got plans for kiosk. We've already got the top of the kiosk. There was another one that I forget what the Green Mountain Club or some other organization had. They replaced their top, and the one they took off was still good, so
Uh-huh,
we went and bought it. So over the town garage.
uh-huh.
So this is in the plans probably. And so this grant, I think it's about $12,000 to clear off the trees. We're gonna bring gravel in and build a kiosk. And that'll open that up. Now, that's also, if you pick up the Westover land,
Mhm.
it's right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a good access. There's beautiful roads
Yep,
from there that go up through well, the guy's got the sugar bush there. That he
Yeah.
says, I don't know if that's gonna stay or not. I don't know.
stay.
It is?
Yep.
Sure, okay.
Well,
And-
last we knew.
Yeah.
It's approved by FEMA.
Yeah.
To stay.
All right. And there's an excellent road system up there that goes right up onto the Bourne property.
Yep,
I don't know what there is up top. I didn't go into the Bourne property, but I did that plan for them. And she was one of my clients.
oh, Westover was one of your clients, okay, oh, nice.
So I did the plan of this past year. But that kiosk, we got to have all sorts of signs there for you guys, for the town forest and everything else.
Mhm.
It's all one.
It's a beautiful
one
spot,
thing, Yeah.
yeah, it's accessible from the parking and from the
Yeah,
trail.
because right now, people go by on a bicycle, they don't know we got the kiosk and the tables here.
Yep.
You can't see it. So if we cut that brush, we're gonna cut it both sides of where the road goes to the rail trail. And there used to be an old, you can see it in that photograph up there, in back of the station, there was a siding that went through. And I don't know how many have seen my poster that's in the town clerk's office.
Yeah.
I have all pictures of it. And that went right in back of the rail station. It was real close so they could load stuff back and forth. And that went right across and then came back to the trail. All that brush up. We'll have a contract, we have volunteers, the town's probably gonna do some of it. And we might get volunteers there in the spring to cut.
Mhm.
And we don't know what we're gonna do with it yet. Somebody said to chip it, I said, don't do that. Because if you chip it, eventually that turns to mud. It's not a solid, you know, you don't want to chip one property because it'll turn to mud. You want gravel in there. No. So
Because
that's,
it depends on what you want to use it for eventually.
Right.
I mean, if you want things to grow.
but I didn't want 6 feet of chips there because it's eventually gonna rot down. So we'll probably this spring, we'll be doing something with it, you know, over the next year. And so we'll see what happens there. But this fits right in.
Accommodate whatever signage.
Yeah, this fits right in. It's what you were talking about right now. That's a good access for that board property.
Mhm.
And it's right out of here. And we'll still keep the parking lot here, probably keep that little shelter there.
Mhm.
My thought was to take that shelter and move it right up. Because that base is 20 feet by 50 feet. It's a good, well, it's the size of the,
Well, another related topic is parking for the old schoolhouse. Right, and what I heard probably at the town barbecue or something is that there's a plan to expand the parking lot that's out here into what used to be the playground behind the old schoolhouse. You know, it's undeveloped land and it's ledgy and uneven terrain back there, and I think they'll you know, it'll be awkward for parking. I don't know if they thought about that. You know, if I mean, I'm not deep into it, but if there's room to have more parking out there and not have to have more parking over here, that's a good thing in my mind.
yeah, we're not gonna deal with any parking on this project. 'Cause they're pretty strict. We can't, matter of fact, we can't even do any machines on like the side on the railroad side of the old foundation. They don't want you to put machinery in there. Well, there's nothing there anyway. They're pretty strict on what you can do on that rail trail. They don't want any equipment on, unless it's theirs or it's one of their
Yeah.
deals. They're pretty strict on that.
I guess I'm not shocked by that.
But I mean, there's a whole town plan of using putting a cafe in there or something of the
Yeah.
old schoolhouse, and it's all it'll be one big project on it, get it all done. Everybody said that's wet over there, it's not in the floodplain. Believe it or not. How could the railroad station be in a floodplain? I mean, railroad tracks,
So.
open up a train.
I'll tell you what, they've done an awful lot of repaired a lot of flood damage on that rail trail.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Not
clear. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even know
Does that cover the things you wanted to bring up? Or-
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So coming back then to the question, Kate's question of, do I have ideas about trails up on the Bourne parcel and so forth? Again, I do have ideas. Yeah, and. You know,
We got the other one,
it's
the snowmobile
personal.
trail.
The vast
On
trail
Pond
is.
Road. It crosses the Pond Road
Yep,
and goes up. It goes up onto Bourne's property.
the vast trail, yeah, the
That's
vast,
private property, and that's Greaves' property. You might have to get a right of way from them or something, or permission to get up in there, but that's a good action. You got the fishing game
So-
parking area, the fishing access parking area right by the bridge.
yeah.
That's another way to get in there.
Yeah, down the road, I mean, these are, it's true, you'd have to cross the adjoining landowners, which is an interesting thing.
Right.
Without that, you know, even before we get to that, there's an easy some next steps to take. And so where I see on this, and this is, you know, related to recruiting volunteers and thinking about what to do. You know, obviously Sinuosity is doing their work. The opportunity that I see on the Bourne parcel is to have much more rustic, you know, beginnings of a trail system. And where I think that goes is we walked up the right of way to that to the knoll where I think it's really appropriate to have a kiosk and a bench and, you know, make that kind of a nice destination. Then from there, we walked out the logging road access out to the ecological protection zone. And it's kind of, so the obvious sighting for a trail would be to follow that artery essentially, with a few places where maybe it goes off from where the equipment has been, because for a walking or biking trail, you don't have to go down and up. We could avoid some of the wet spots by essentially winding around a little bit, following the contours of the land rather than strictly following the existing equipment path. So following that south towards the ecological protection zone, but stopping a couple hundred yards or you know, changing direction a couple hundred yards before then, there's a wetland that's marked on the maps that we would need to skirt around it or, you know, route the trail around the wetland protection area. And a couple of ways we could do that. I'm undecided at this point as to which one I would consider most favorable, or possibly, you know, actually, you know, one that goes around and one that branches off earlier and goes up, and then the two of them could come back together. And up above that, there's a bench in the terrain that runs back towards the village, essentially. And so a trail that goes along that, a couple options. One is to come back along that and get out to the crown of the land in front and basically go up and over the top and eventually out to the pond on the Bourne parcel. As Dave and Max and I walked out there and then a week or two later, we had an event that we advertised. There were about 5 people that came, and we pretty much walked that route. So as an initial, trail building activity, I would see making a loop that follows the route that I described, right? The logging artery out towards the ecological protection zone, ascends up onto either to the bench or all the way up to the ridge line, comes back to the front, and comes back down the shorter pathway down and back down to the kiosk. So, or the knoll where, potentially a kiosk and a bench. I have been up there multiple times and I've flagged some possible routes with some white just flagging tape. And have some things in mind. I think what I think is the appropriate next step is for, if this committee just will entrust me with it, I can walk the route that I think it should take with the GPS, and bring a map into the committee, which then can, propagate through to the select board and Northern Rivers, et cetera, so that everybody can have a clear and precise picture of what we're thinking. And if we can get that approval process this winter, then we can parallel, we can be ready to put some volunteers to work if we get the volunteers in the spring.
This process does it go through Northern Rivers and then to the select board, or does it go select board Northern Rivers?
Select board, Northern Rivers.
Who's the ultimate say?
Northern Rivers and VHCB, the
Really?
state agency.
Not the select board.
But, well, the select board has the final say of anything, right?
Basically, yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm saying.
the select board can shut it down.
Yeah.
VHCB / Northern Rivers can shut
Just gonna
it
use the
down.
bathroom real quick.
Sure. Select board or Northern, or VHCB or Northern Rivers could shut it down or come back with recommendations and requests for changes or however, everybody, all the stakeholders.
The conservation easement recognizes that the community forest is intended for recreational purposes. So, and it allows for trail building to occur. So I don't anticipate a lot of paperwork having to be done there. Having that map, I think, is absolutely critical.
Mhm.
And you'll probably want to show it to people like Emily
Mhm.
to make sure you're not putting it through the middle of a wetland or, something like that.
Yeah.
Get them to sign off on it. But yeah, that's what this whole forest was intended for, was to give people recreational opportunities. So
Yeah.
I think it's right in line.
It'd be great for, some of us as trustees of the LT to walk it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love looking in the woods. If anybody wants to go for a walk, let me know. I'd love to come with you. And obviously, the forest is here for us to walk in.
That's an exercise you can do.
Yeah.
I doctor recommends his patients to do it. Stay off the trail.
So Gordon, you would do that pretty soon and then get a map out there for everyone to look at. And then
Yeah.
you can say, hey, let's, whoever wants to check it out, do a walk with a group.
I can commit to bringing them out to the next meeting, to a meeting next month.
Oh, that'd be great.
So.
I may want to go with you today, just for fun,
Great.
Do the GPS,
Yeah.
just to see it firsthand.
Yeah, I'd love that.
We're gonna have a snowshoe walk this winter. Include me.
You do?
I don't want everybody to know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if the weather warms up a little bit and if we don't get too much more snow, but, um, I'm sure we can get around up there though.
I don't do that anymore.
A lot of work. Slogging through snow, and snowshoes, yeah.
And then we need to identify what work needs to be done on the other roads, logging roads, trails that we discussed I guess it was in October,
Yeah.
water bars and things like that.
Did you anticipate any budget money being needed for this part of it, or does that to come? You'll figure it out as it goes. Obviously, sinuosity's spending money. If this is all volunteer, you're cutting out any. You're not paying anyone labor to do this trail, right? So, just wondering if you thought about that at all. Will any budget be needed, do you think, or if that's just gonna, as it goes, we'll find out? Yeah, I don't, my plan, I don't have a plan fleshed out in my mind, with that. I have, lots of possibilities. It would be fun to have a bunch of money and be able to hire a professional trail builder. In fact, one of the things we've talked about is comparing it to the trails down in Maple Corners. I know the person who has built the trails down there, and he would be willing to come and work on trails up here as well. I think it would be a wonderful opportunity. It would probably require, so obviously we have to get the approved plan. One of the things actually I mentioned, it's in my mind, but so after our last meeting, Kate Weiner read the minutes or read the notes and sent me an email saying, by the way, Gordon, make sure you go through the right process. Don't go out there building trails before the easement holders have. And that was just, between us, but it's on my mind, and that's why I'm, making sure just a hat tip to that. We'll follow the process.
And you had put out something around getting grants for additional, like there's a process there.
Yeah.
For any money that might be needed. I don't know, you maybe, there was a meeting or there was a workshop or something involved along those lines. I remember you put something out to us a few months ago.
Yeah. So a couple of things. There's annual grants for, some trail building and trail maintenance stuff and, wilderness stuff. This is what I'm coming to know about it. So they came up on my radar. I did send out some emails about it. One of the responses I got was, I think, from Mariah from Sinuosity, who kind of discouraged me from doing the grant applications. And I don't know that she was particularly intending to be discouraging, but one of the things she pointed out is that so they allocate them, they try and sort of spread the money around to different places. And the fact that we're already consuming $200,000 of OREC money is one of the factors of it. The other thing is that these grants are, they're tend to be pretty heavily subscribed, but a lot of competition for the grants. And so you should be well prepared. And the other thing is I looked into the history of how these grants are distributed. And it looks like a big pot of money when you first look at it, but actually it seems to be how VAST gets most of its budget, or a significant portion of its budget, a lot of money. Part of it is because it's federally funded, it is mandated to go to motorized, so like 50-50 to motorized recreation and non-motorized recreation or something like that. So the $200,000 annually going to the vast grooming operations from these grant funds. So all of which is to say, it's not to say that we shouldn't
be applying for it. But I didn't pull together the energy to submit any applications this year.
Yep.
And I do see that, these applications look pretty substantial, and, there's professional grant writers involved in doing it in other places. So
Understood.
that's what we might be up against on those.
And this gentleman, you're in Middlesex?
He's in Calais.
Cal's.
Yeah.
You would be just volunteer or?
He's, he's a carpenter, tradesperson, in his late 60s or early 70s, and depends on his labor for his income. So I don't think he'd be volunteering to do stuff particularly, I think he's gotten paid by the landowners down in Calais. The speculation on my part, I don't know for sure, but I think he has. Also, in part, just simply by the sheer amount of work that's gone into making those trails.
Yeah.
There's some really amazing custom bridge work and custom stone work and stuff like that. And again, as I say, if we can get him, it would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He did come up and walk around up here with me and is interested in doing it, would be interested. This is a long and vague answer to your question. Because I don't have a solid answer at this point.
Fair enough.
I mean, and it's up to us to, if we want to make something happen. I'd love to see it. I probably don't have the energy myself to pull it all together, but if we as a group want to do it, having all of us pulling on it would be a wonderful thing. I think in my mind, the step one is basically getting this group aligned that there's a place to put trails and we want to put the trails there. And to that end, I feel like, when I bring in a map next meeting.
If we could see a map and then walk it, we could be in a position to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a walk with me this weekend? I'm trying to think what plans I have this weekend.
My brother's coming up this weekend, so we're gonna be doing brother stuff. So this weekend's not great for me, but
Work weekend, so.
Okay, it's not a weekend thing for you.
I'm pretty flexible most of this winter, really, but yeah.
But not this weekend.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I can take a day off. I'll have to sort of finagle it, figure out how to finagle it, to take a day off midweek. So while we're here, who else is interested in coming and walking potential trails?
I'm interested, Gordon. It just depends on when. This weekend is unfortunately not great. I'm all booked, but
Okay.
I always love walking in the woods.
Yeah, Gordon, I'm open to it as well. I like I said, it's this weekend's a little bit already booked with a bunch of kid activities.
Yeah.
But I actually have a lot of flexibility in my schedule most of the time. Just need a little bit of lead time.
Okay. So Kate, basically anytime, but not the weekends for you?
I have Thursdays and Fridays off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Tomorrow's not gonna work for me. Already have plans.
Yeah.
Snowshoes.
that's a little, it's short notice. Fridays are not necessarily great days for me. Maxfield, are you available at all midweek? Thursdays and Fridays in particular are Kate's days?
Fridays would be. I know you just said Fridays are. I'm coaching Nordic ski team, and we train Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have a lot of Wednesday races. Friday is like a high school only practice, so that's kind of my lighter day, I guess.
Okay,
I can occasionally get a Saturday off, but I have very short notice on that.
okay.
Yeah. And if you plan one for Saturday, not MLK weekend,
Uh-huh. Okay.
that's really I could do.
I mean, honestly, it's, maybe it's 2 walks. Um, you know, maybe we plan a weekend walk for those who can do it and a weekday walk for those who can't make a weekend. That's, you know, this doesn't have to be an official act, so we can coordinate outside of the meeting and, I'm happy to just start the email thread and figure things out. Gabe, how's your calendar these days?
It's pretty wide open now. Yeah,
Okay,
for the winter, at least yeah, until spring, really.
Mhm. Jack, how's your calendar?
Any day but Thursdays.
Any day but Thursdays. Okay. Okay, I'll look at my calendar and, yeah, maybe set up a Calendly or something, we'll figure something out.
If I do a Saturday and I have an advance notice, I may be able to do it.
Okay. And, you know, honestly, it's, at this point, to me, the primary concern is the weather.
Yeah.
And the walkability, so,
To wait till spring.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep getting more and more snow or?
Well, you never know.
Hard to say, yeah.
The way it's been, this will probably go in a week.
I don't know.
yeah, I'm guessing it's pretty well blown in up there with the west, we've been having more westerly winds.
It's drifting, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh, by the way, the last week in January, sled dog race, 25th and 26th. Starts at the Oxbow, comes out here to Coley Road and
They're
back.
gonna do that again this year?
What's that?
They're gonna do that this year?
Yep.
And what were the dates on that?
25th and 26th.
On the rail trail? On the rail trail?
Yes.
okay. Are you
We make a
right,
loop at,
are you right in the middle of organizing it? Is
Yeah,
that your baby?
I haven't done it for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
Don't run dogs anymore, Brian. Want to give back a little bit. We're trying to go all the way out to B&R Lumber, but we got no place to turn around. Gotta have a pretty good area to take those dog teams around.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you have to,
Eventually, I'd like to go to Hardwick, but we'd have to put up those big flashing signs at the Fisher Bridge crossing. They feel
Oh, yeah.
3 days, that'd be expensive.
Yeah.
Gotta have a blue light there.
Mhm.
Plus, we got a big sponsor here to do it. Go to Hardwick and back, 30 miles.
Well, you could go the other direction without having a road crossing, right? Or there is one in Hyde Park now. There used to be a bridge, but now it crosses the road. if I'm not
Yeah, it's
mistaken.
pretty hard to go that way.
Okay.
Yeah. A
Okay,
lot of driveways.
gotcha.
Because once you get across 15A, which is the hardest part of the whole race,
Mhm.
we had a lot of people there. With snow on the road. We can go all the way up to Corley Road without and I do have a 6-dog turnaround from halfway up if we have a 6-dog class, but
Yeah.
the groomer, we got the snowmobile groomer, I go with them, we put the turnarounds in.
Nice.
Do it on Wednesday or Thursday before.
Holds up.
Yeah.
Want to help, let me know. I'll always use some help somewhere.
Cool. Okay, so review of things we talked about. Soil remediation, I'm chasing that down. Sinuosity, spring startup plans, I'm chasing that. Members approval by the select board. Signage, pricing and approval by select board and agreement to proceed. We're agreed with a couple simple signs as quickly as we can feasibly put them up without stress. Planning to discuss, signage, branding, essentially communication plans. So, sign format and website design pending Bradley's availability, and because we want to use him for graphic design, if you want, however, you want to be involved in that, but I think Brad is, contracting with the town.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think more for me, through Spark, I can do, signs outside of kiosk or trail signs, really anything that doesn't fit into something you can get off of Amazon.
Mhm.
That needs a little more nuance or customization to it than I can do. But seems like no motorized vehicles is pretty straightforward. Probably gonna be a bit cheaper just to buy a straight up sign that's already been done, so.
yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, at any time, I can do that sort of thing.
Cool. So, one of the things I'd love to see coming out of our next meeting is a plan underway for having like signage, having a display board that we could have here in the town office and also put it up at town meeting. And like basically be moving along and getting the word out at that point. So just to have that planted in everybody's minds that after next meeting, we'd like to have some good progress in that direction. And then
also collecting kiosk pictures.
yeah. Okay, and then working on trail layout and having a members walk or two to cover trail layouts in the Wolcott parcel. I think those are the key action items we've covered tonight. Anything else we need to talk about?
I'll just add a side note. Monday night, we had the planning commission meeting and we approved a motion to move forward with an application for Better Connections grant, which is kind of a comprehensive master plan for bike and ped or general non-motorized movement around Wolcott Village. And, I made a plug for looking at connectivity for the LVRT and the Wolcott Town Forest Trail system. So it's a ways off. We're going to submit our pre-application, the planning commission was all in favor of that.
Fantastic. And we haven't talked much about the Westover property. As I'm thinking about trail building, there is a right of way that goes up through it. There's also interesting possibilities for recreation trails on the Westover property, and I think we need to talk to the select board about what their thoughts are about managing that. That it seems like a no-brainer that it should be kind of managed and planned for in conjunction with the town forest and Bourne parcel. But we probably need some clarity or discussion with the select board about that. So just throwing that out there. Cool. Anything else? In that case, let's wrap up.
Make a motion, I'll make a motion.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Get well, Roger. Get well. Get well, Dave.
I got some other news. I'm now town dog officer.
Oh, really?
Now
what?
Dog officer.
Constable?
Register your dogs, or I'll be after.
What about cats?
No, cats are free.
That's a great.